So Todd Campbell, thanks so much for being on here this evening with me, or this morning with me, actually. Todd's a personal mindset and development and performance coach, if I can call you that. I think that's probably the best way to really define your services and what you do for people. So thanks so much for being on here this morning.
Absolutely. Good to see you, my friend. Looking forward to spending some time with you.
Yeah, that's great. So the first question I have is, a lot of people, when they first start in any industry, the first thing that really pops into their mind is fear. So how do you overcome that feeling of emotion of fear, and what does fear actually mean to you?
Well, we can start with the last question first. What is fear? Obviously, we'll experience it different. It can have a lot to do with our emotional ties to what we've experienced in the past, everything else. For some people, fear can be paralyzing. For others, it can be the emergency brake that they kick on and stop. For some people, it won't even allow them to see outside the parameters of, quote unquote, their comfort zone. And so, if we look at the subconscious mind, subconscious mind, its job is really two things. And we can look at all the research, and at least all of the experts that are out there today would agree in, let's say, this bracket, that your subconscious mind is there, and one of its job is to creatively ensure, and we'll come back to that, to creatively ensure that you operate within the truth as you see it and believe it. So again, whatever your beliefs about self, other people, the world are, you'll literally draw things into the universe, to creatively ensure that you operate within the truth as you see it. You will never have something outside of your beliefs about you, other people, or the world. The other job of the subconscious mind is to keep us safe. In other words, to keep us from anything unknown, new, outside of our comfort zone, anything that would press on those, again, limiting beliefs that we have. And so, when we talk about fear, a lot of the work we do, not only, in the tactical mind, which we're releasing here in about a week, and I can't wait to get the full push on that, because as you know, I love doing the live classes, and I only teach transformational, not motivational, not educational, but transformational growth. And it's about recreating a different relationship with fear. Fear is always going to be present anytime we're taking on something bigger than we've taken on before, anything that's unknown, it's going to be present. But the opportunity truly is to switch the relationship you have with fear, recontextualize the relationship that you have with fear. You ever see those hats or t-shirts that say no fear?
Absolutely.
Yeah, what a load of garbage. To be fearful, but so clear about your hierarchy of values and what you want that you'll push through fear. In fact, recontextualize your relationship with fear and almost harness it like a jetpack and use the power to move through. KNOW, fear, know your fear, know what it's representing. And so bottom line, we've all experienced this going past. And I don't want to give the misnomer that here's the secret to getting over fear. Here is the 5 steps to banishing fear. I mean, we could go out and find articles like that out there and we'd read them. They'd make contextual sense, but we would not. Bottom line is recreating a relationship with fear. And I'm going to suggest with fear, with abundance, so many of us with wealth, and not just monetary. But when you recreate your relationship with those things, and you have to recontextualize the boundaries, the preconceived ideas, the control or power it has over you. Yes. I'm going to challenge everybody that sees this today to go out and do something that scares the shit out of you today. And by that, I don't mean jump off a 6-story building without, any tether. I not in that sense of, again, let's just say not being rational. But let's say there's something that over the last 2-3 weeks, month, whether it's in your relationship, whether it is a new skill set you want to take on, whether it's maybe you've seen all these people taking back on their passions, you still have some time, and maybe it's picking up, that guitar that you laid down in 6th grade and never went back to. Do something that scares the perfectionist in you. That scares the part of you that goes, well, what will people think of me, or I'm too old, or it's too late, or anything, and you will shock yourself if you recontextualize that fear and just move through it. And then just ask yourself, where else in my life could I do that? So I know that was a long way around the bush, but we're not getting rid of fear. Fear is here, it is present, and it's always going to be going for anything outside. So doesn't it make sense, rather than to try and numb out to it, banish it, anything, embrace it, recontextualize it, and use it as an energy that can move you forward.
Absolutely. I love that. And I love the acronyms of fear. And you kind of led right into that, right? You can fear everything and run, or you can face everything and rise, right? And I love the difference between the two. And I think you just hit the nail right on the head when you really textualized it the same way that you did. So fantastic. Now, you mentioned also kind of in there as well, you talked about the spouse and stuff like that. I'm so fortunate. I have a loving spouse, a supportive spouse, but a lot of people in the industry, a lot of people out there in business, they suffer with the unsupportive spouse. What would you say to those people?
It's almost in the same vein, because let's just, I'm going to use some generals here. Every single relationship is different. And let's put it this way, mastery, I just about 30 years with my wife, and she's been happy for about the last, 25 or so after I got my act together. But we're making some assumptions here. So let's just lay those out, because you know what they say about them. This is with a person that you share a life with. This is a person that is a partner, a spouse, a husband,
Support.
wife, partner. And the truth is it goes back to that previous conversation. I guarantee you the reason they're unsupportive is they're fearful. They may not. I see so many times when I work with clients that are in relationship marketing and affiliate marketing, and let's face it, it's the rise of the future. Control your time, your dime, everything else. Well, that's fearful for some people. If your spouse or partner has only ever grown up where they saw somebody do the 9 to 5, come and go, and that was the value or the worth of that, let's just say the alpha role in that relationship. They can't see it outside of that. When it is that we can count on this, maybe they're the bookkeeper in the family, and if I have this, the trade of your time for this exchange, and I can count on this every month, I can budget a household, this, that, or the other. And so a lot of assumptions being made here, but it's out of fear for them too. And I've often found that it's because they're so resistant to it. They just shun it. And therefore the conversations are shut down, and they never understand what the goal is, what the dream is, how this could support the family unit, for the sake of what I'm doing it for.
Yeah.
Because it's selfless, not selfish, to create a legacy life that you get to pass on and maybe change generational wealth and confines and structures of liberties and freedoms and all of these pieces. So the biggest thing I would say there is, over the years, I've seen a lot of that. And I'll be honest, my wife was less than 100% supportive when I started my full-on journey in personal growth and development, because it was to be a better father, a better husband. But guess what? It took me away from home more. It took more time on my schedule. So it was contradictory to my wife to even think, well, you're saying you want to be a better man, a better husband, better father, and now we just see you gone more. And with that, there comes the human potential of, well, show me that, stacking a result. And so if any of this sounds real, I'm just going to suggest communication, open, honest. And here's the thing, responsible communication.
Yeah.
Open that there's two sides to every story, right? Open that this person could be seeing it totally different. And just really getting in, why do we do what we do, and how can we do it better together? Yes. And no one needs to be wrong, because I guarantee you that we go to right and wrong, but it's different viewpoints, it's different perceptions, it's different concerns, different pain and pleasure points. And if we could even understand each other better, it could be different. So open, honest, responsible, honest about why I'm doing it, what my hopes are. Here's the problem. Most of us don't even share our dreams with people at the level we're worthy, because we have these huge dreams and we share it out in our heart, and all it takes is somebody else's reality or somebody else's perception to poke a hole in it, to let the air out of that balloon, to basically, shit on your dream, so to speak. Yeah, the open, honest, responsible communication. Open, there's two sides to every story, not to be right or wrong, but to be heard and understood. If you could do that for your spouse, and they could do that for you, just to be heard and understood, even if not agreed with. Mm-hmm. Honest about what is real, maybe even the fears you have around it, maybe even the things you've already thought through, everything to full disclosure, if you will. In any partnership, business or personal, there has to be full disclosure.
Absolutely.
And responsible for my emotions, my feelings, my perceptions, not you've done this. You get hysterical or historical in those conversations with partner or spouse, hysterical or historical. Well, you always do this, or in the past, and we've just literally blighted all future. So it may even be the person that wants more support going back and opening up new channels of communication and to literally cross to the responsible side, not the victim side if I have an unsupportive spouse. Now that may be true in the moment. Rocks are hard, water's wet, what is. However, to full responsibility of it, have I fully communicated? Have I given it every opening? Or did I meet resistance? And because this means so much to me, but I'm already fearful and afraid of it anyway, and I don't feel supported. So, I build walls and I stack bricks and I stack evidence. Tear it freaking down. Go back to communication.
Absolutely. Communication is so key. I knew today was going to be fire, Todd, but you've delivered it right off the bat, right? And with that being said, in my personal life, I can really relate to what you're saying, right? I find myself that so many times I get the blinders on and you're right, I pull away from my family, and there's things, and when I stand for my family and I want to do things for them, but I end up taking my time away. And you're absolutely right. So it's up to me to be able to communicate that and to be able to continuously sell the dream of where we're going and what we're going to achieve as a result of doing it. And I think when you can do that, you have a much higher success rate. And like I said, my spouse is fully supportive, but I sometimes forget to sell the dream.
Yeah. Well, and the other side of that is to not come from need. And I agree, when we're doing things that are stretching out on a limb, really pushing ourselves on the wire, and there's a part of us that feels so alive because everything that's true in us, our greatness, our excellence is coming out. But then there's also that part where we can feel running on reserve or not how to fill the tank to make this journey. And so we can be very needy of our partner or spouse. And so not to need their approval, not to need their support, not to come from scarcity. So they got to give more in me, but to, if you will, create it.
Yes.
And that's really, it's going to be the best training of your business, your life, your entrepreneurship too, is to create it, because that's entrepreneur, creating from nothing.
Yes.
And that's the beauty. Not an old box, not an old paradigm, not a for this much an hour, but to create with no glass ceiling. So these things go hand in hand. And that's, Sheldon, I'll just take a side rail here, but that's why I love doing the personal coaching. I have a few clients that, that's my soul enriching part, right? The one-on-one, because it's much more effective in my time now to do group programs, to, do classes, with hundreds of people you can impact at a time. But, in that little piece there, these are all the same things. And most coaching programs out there, if I want to be guru, not truly empower you, let me show you your faults. Let me show you this. Let me show you that's not working for you. But, it goes against the very vein of what we talk about in what we think about. Bottom line, your thoughts create everything, right? Mm-hmm. What we concentrate on, we create more of. Where our energy flows, that's what grows. We can talk about this all day long. But most people look at their weaknesses, and therefore they wonder why they're exploited in their weaknesses. They can't get over them. They're trapped in them. They keep coming up over and over. Same result, different company, different opportunity. And what I love working with people in the work we do, especially, is there's some amazing things about people. I mean, there is a phenomenal success breeding freaking machine in every human being. You were born that way. To deny it, especially in today's day and age, no longer. But to start to focus on what your strengths are, and then that question, where else would this work in my life? Cross-train your strengths. Because if you are a phenomenal marketer, you're wonderful at copy, you're excellent in communication, you can even buy into a vision, you have a vision big enough for other people to buy into, all of these things, I guarantee you're doing some things that if you cross-train those and came back to your partner or spouse with those strengths, with those opportunities for new beginnings, just like you would a straight, you'll blow your mind. Just as in all these areas, one of the things that we'll work on in the coaching that I do, and even it's a huge part of the tactical mind, which I can't wait till it releases, but some of these objective tools to not only be able to disseminate and really pull out what is effective, what's working in me, what's aligned in me, what are my super strengths, if you will, defined at a different level and working them harder than ever, and then cross-training them. Because if you are a diligent person with your schedule, your timekeeping, everything in the gym and your physical health and everything else, what if you created the relationship with your son that you were lacking and wanting out of those same strengths that you could bring to the table without even knowing? Because most people just know it's not how I want it. And so, if that makes sense, so much of what the tactical mind is about, so much of the coaching I do is cross-training your strengths, truly identifying, because if you focus only on your strengths and you start to win in these things and everything goes up, does it make sense that it naturally pushes the way or everything else out of the way? So in other words, we don't have to focus on the weaknesses. Let's just strengthen and push those weaknesses totally aside, and they're no longer there, because again, what we focus on grows. So that's the other thing. So many people may be clear, I don't have a supportive relationship the way I want it right now, but they don't even know what the frick they do want. Great, what would it look like? Let's create that. And cross-train your strengths into it, because you can change the dynamics, and it only takes one person to change a relationship, believe it or not, because when you hold totally different spaces, everything for that other person. So this is a topic I'm passionate about, because you bet, to build a dream life and not feel like you're supported in it, or that the other person that you want to do it with and for, and the children, isn't even on the same page. That is one of the most lonely
places to be.
Lonely places to, let's just say, have strength and go out and really apply from. So yeah, we could do hours on this, but it's a great topic, Sheldon. I hope we gave it justice to scratch the surface. Hopefully people have a new idea of where they could maybe, again, focus on a strength, bring that into the relationship.
You bet. And one of the things that you mentioned, Todd, was your coaching programs. And I've had the honor to be able to be in a big room, in a smaller room with you, and the phenomenal value that you bring, and the lives that you change as a result of your coaching is phenomenal. So for all you guys that are looking for someone to help you in these areas, Todd is definitely the man who can help. And we'll get talking about the tactical mind, because I know that's a big thing that you've been working on lately. And we'll save that to the end. So guys, make sure that you stay on till the end, because Todd's going to be announcing really what he's been working on and how you can probably get a little bit of access to him as well. So it's so good. One of the things that you talked about also was really the power of visualization, right? You talked about seeing things and believing it. So what is the power of actually visualization? You hear about sports and athletes doing it. You hear about some business professionals doing it. What's your take on visualization?
So for the last 20 years in this pursuit and teaching of personal growth development, all of it, one of the things is so true. What the mind of man can conceive, that is the thought of and believe, right? That's the emotions, the pictures we hold in our mind, believe it or not, he can achieve. And so maybe the easiest way to explain the value of this is because we're all using it. Everyone uses it. How many of your people out there in the audience, maybe whether you're watching a replay, catching live, it doesn't matter, but you can draw to a time where there was a negative outcome that you just knew you didn't want, right? Whether that was my spouse is going to leave me, this business is going to fail, whatever. Ties around your emotions, you couldn't help but see that picture in your mind. And then you started to see it repetitively over and over. And I guarantee you, just ask yourself this, did you manifest it? It's foolproof every freaking time. Well, the greatest thing about the powers in the universe, let's say the universal truths and the anchors that we use in personal growth and development, is the only time they don't work is, number one, if they're controlled, manipulated, or agendized. And we're either using them for positive or negative, effective or ineffective. And so, bottom line, the visuals that we hold in our mind, it's one of the most powerful pieces of us. And human beings are one of the only species, I believe the only species on the planet, that can see themselves beyond their current conditions, right? Negative or positive, greatest fears. I could have a bunch of money in the bank and be fearful and see the bank account empty all the time because, oh my, or I could be at a place where I don't have the success I want yet, but I know where I'm going and I can see it and it'll draw me forward. But the greatest truth is, whatever you visualize over and over, the pictures in our mind, psychopictography, it doesn't mean crazy, psycho, the mind, pictography, the pictures that we hold in our mind. They control our emotions. There's a part of our brain called the reticular activating center, and its whole job, it's like your Google search engine. Easy way to explain this is if you were driving home on empty in your car. And by the way, what you guys pay in Canada for gas is insane. First time I went there, oh my God, your gas is cheap. And then they went, that's per liter. And I went, oh, how many liters in a gallon?
Exactly.
But if you were driving home on empty, you might, let's say if you're driving home with a full tank of gas, you'd be oblivious to how many convenience stores, gas stations, everything there are. You're driving home on empty. It's like the Terminator, right? It's like bing, bing, bing. Same is true of all the assets, all of the relationships, all of the sphere of influence, all of the right connections, everything else. When you hold the visuals in your mind, and they're permanent, right? The pictures, you literally brand it like an iron into your mind. You cannot see it any other way. You'll attract things, you will be on the right path. It's a feeling of, oh, deja vu, I'm on the right path, I've been here. But yeah, the biggest thing you can do, and one of the biggest practices you can start with is, it's got to be clear. And here's the thing, I may sound contradictory here. I do not believe in vision boards. I believe they are a way. I do not believe they are the best way to, because usually what we do is we cut out pictures of other people's bodies or other people's cars and bank accounts and stick them up on our wall. And then when we're not getting there, all we feel is the distance of how far we are from it. And it literally starts to feel like it's somebody else's, and they'll never be. But if you took a 5-minute practice every morning and start with gratitudes, in my opinion, universe cannot give you any more if you're not first a good and grateful steward of what you already have, period. And then to, after you've done your gratitudes, to visualize. And I do it in 2 ways. Yes, I have my end results, like the big one. And visualizing that, and just again, I can tell you, as far as the ultimate retreat center I want to have to do our experiential educational courses with everything from high ropes and recontextualizing fear, everything, I can tell you exactly what the backdrop looks like. I can tell you what the temperature of the radiant heat floors are, the type of brick that is on the fireplace and the mantle, how the areas connect to the dormitory areas and everything for everybody to stay, what the auditorium looks like, down to how the sound echoes off the walls, to everything. Because if you're not going to use your mind for great, I'll tell you all about this, and it's like a big, huge, if you will, billboard of you seeing it for me. But not only seeing the big results, but then also envisioning your perfect day. And that's just how I do it. I see the whole big, and we take a lot of these topics on in classes, but see the big visions, and then no matter what, see the perfect day. What are the results I want to have in this meeting? Today I was even visualizing, what impact do I want to make today? Getting an opportunity with one of my dear friends, Sheldon, and his audience and everything else. And you and I go way back. And so it was seeing the perfect end result and seeing it the perfect day. You do those 2 things, you'll be blown away, because your mind's already trained to see it that way.
Absolutely.
That's it.
One of my favorite quotes is, if you can hold it in your head, you can hold it in your hand. I'm an early riser. I like my morning by myself, and I get to do my meditation, and I get to do my visualization. I get to do my affirmations, Todd, which is really my next question, is like the power of affirmations. Obviously, we've talked about the visualization of it, seeing and achieving it, but also what you ended up turning around and telling yourself on a daily basis through affirmations is really kind of the next step, is it not?
It's one of the most constants. Easy way to kind of talk about this, to set context. How many of you out there talk to yourself?
Every single one of us.
Yeah, more than likely everybody went, I don't know, do I talk to me? Yeah. And the visuals we hold in our mind, we will get attached to emotionally, everything else. And I mean, the subconscious cannot tell fiction from fact. That's why a horror movie, even though it's total fiction, can still scare the shit out of you in the visuals, right? Mm-hmm. Bottom line is, there's 2 pieces to that. So there's visuals that we hold, and then there's also, if you will, we can call them our beliefs, our belief system about ourselves, other people, or the world. And that is always running. By the way, once you put those beliefs in, and we go over it, take this on at a big level, but literally proven 100% that by the time you are 8 years old, 80% of all your paradigms, programs, let's just say your beliefs about yourself, other people, the world, all in place. By the time you're 18, 95%. And then you've probably noticed these things turn into, we'll just call them sock puppets. You ever get in a stressful situation and those, we can call them our limiting beliefs, come up? Like sock puppets, right? You suck, go home now. You can never do this. It's never gonna happen. These people don't like you. They don't try, try taking a stage in front of, 5,000 people for your audience I spoke to for the first time. It's like, whoa, all right, you guys, shut up.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the thing is, they never go away. But it's also scientifically proven that there's only 2 ways that these, if you will, beliefs, and let me be very clear, we all have positive and we can just call them effective beliefs, and we also have limiting, or let's just call it non-effective beliefs. The reason most people tend to concentrate on, and you hear that term all over, limiting belief system, limiting beliefs, everything else, is because the ones that are positive, that's where you're already successful, right? You're already stacking amazing results in there. The limiting factor, limiting beliefs, limiting factor that's keeping your success just at where it is and not something greater is the oftentimes equal or even more stacked and opposite beliefs, right? And so only two ways these come in. First way is out of repetition, right? If somebody told you over and over, you've been proving, you take an amazing, phenomenal success breeding machine, a young child, put them in one in a positive environment, one in a negative environment, one positive environment where they're always hearing encouraging things, you're amazing, you're phenomenal, I love you, I'll take time for you, absolutely, you're the most important thing, you can do anything, whatever you need from me, I'll always be there. Doesn't make sense that child, as this program is going on, doesn't make sense that they would take on, let's just say, beliefs about themselves, other people in the world, that they were worthy, that there was somebody in it, and again, then they're going to have other events, right? But this is repetition. You could take that same child, gifted in every way, and if they were constantly told, shut up, get out of my way, never mind, I'll do it myself, you're not good enough, I don't have time for you, all the way down to, I wish you weren't even here, you are the bane of my problems, doesn't make sense that then all that's going to go in, right? So repetition is one way. And by the way, we can talk about this, we can talk about the neuroscience. Literal channels get carved out in your brain. You have a chemical synapses that happens when something shoots right down that track, whether it's your limiting belief track, your positive, you're chemically addicted to how you think. Mm-hmm. So one way is repetition, the other way, and the most, let's just say, the biggest ones, events that we have a strong emotional connection to, that then boom, the death of a parent and it's my fault, and now I truly believe if I love, I'm going to get hurt, and I wasn't good enough or enough to keep that marriage together, all these different things. And so with all that, and you can see there's a long area, and that's where the work that we do is so successful in rewriting story, because so many stories people have, because the mind is a beautiful thing. Child's favorite question is why? I saw one in your background, and from 4 to 7, between the ages of 4 to 7, they will ask why as many as 400 plus times a day.
Yes.
But we assign, it's the way the human mind works, we assign a story to everything, right? So I got kicked off of my junior high basketball team because I wasn't performing, even though I'd never played before. I wasn't out there. I suck. I am non-athletic. Whatever.
We have to make sense of it.
Oh, you got to write a story about it, right?
Right. Yeah.
And
absolutely.
so these limiting beliefs. So your original question was affirmations. I think it's very important to provide the context first, because here's the deal: affirmations that go to battle with these limiting beliefs. In other words, all these things, amazing. But doesn't make sense that if there's only two ways these go in, you've got to then put them in the same way. Otherwise, they're words. You ever know somebody that can speak all the right words? However, you can tell the beat doesn't match the music. There's no integrity there, everything. The same thing has to be true with these affirmations. So if you're going to pick on affirmations of, I am an amazing father. I am a resilient marketer. I am a phenomenal, amazing, money magnet, whatever your affirmations are, right? Only two ways that those can really go in and not just be talk. Not just be, okay, I'm reading this list every day. And that's where the trap in all this is. It's not necessarily what you do, it's how do you emotionalize it and what do you experience in it? Absolutely. And so with those affirmations, two things. To start to create the experiences and the results that match the affirmation, right? That experience. And with the repetition, have to then be taking steps of action. You train your subconscious mind. You tell it, I am going to do all this work tomorrow. I'm going to reach out. I'm going to crush it. I'm going to post all this content, everything. And then you don't do it. Subconscious mind, all these beliefs that you're trying to take on as affirmations, everything goes, bullshit. You're training it that you're out of integrity, that you're dishonest, that you don't mean it anyway. Just as if I, like today, I got lots of good stuff to do, right? It'd be easier on a Friday to go, well, time to head out, whatever, or let fear stop me because some of the videos that I'm going to be doing and everything, it's like got to be one take wonder. We'll see. I'm human. And bottom line, if I don't take on those things, I've also trained my subconscious mind that
it's all right.
He doesn't mean it. That's why gym, health, diet, these things that you can hold true to no matter what, because it's just on you. It's not on what somebody else may or may not do. And you train your subconscious mind to, he says we're doing it, we're freaking doing it. It's insane what those can sound. But does that make sense? Affirmations, amazing, phenomenal. They go to the heart of the core. But if you understand the construct and the context we just laid out, it can't just be words.
That's right.
And that's why no matter what, in the personal growth and development arena, I am not one that climbs and does the diggy diggy. I truly believe, and you and I have talked about the spiritual side of things, everything else, but bottom line, action trumps everything.
Yeah.
Got to take the actions that, again, validate those affirmations, or your subconscious mind kind of hears it and goes, yeah, but this one's embedded.
Absolutely. And I love that you tied emotion into that, because that's just how we humans as creatures learn anything, right? It's how we learn the lyrics to a song, and like 20 years later, we can still repeat the same lyrics to that song because of the emotion that it evoked all those years ago, right? The trials and tribulations that you might have gone through listening to one of those songs or whatever brings back that emotion and allows you to remember those words. So I love how you tied that in.
And here's a practice of those affirmations, Sheldon. Again, I hate to keep referring to the tactile mind, but it's like the vein of all of my amazing pieces I put together, but you got to come up with a contract for your life in that program. Now, this contract that I was given 18 years ago by one of my mentors, or came up with it, I am a patient, loving, peaceful man, surrendering to a happy, balanced life now. I couldn't sell it to anybody because it sounded, because I had no balance, 80 hours a week, running from my life, freaking big shot at work, scared to death of my two children, ages 2 and 4, because, thought I was going to screw them up. Based on my anger issues, the things I'd experienced, all of these things. And so it came out like this: I'm a patient, loving, peaceful man. And everybody, bullshit you are. You want to find out if you're living your affirmations? Put them together, stand in front of the mirror. Would you buy that? You know what I'm saying? Because you do have to have that emotional tie.
Yeah.
And guess what? When you get a string of affirmations together and it makes you quake when you're saying them out loud or looking yourself in the mirror, where it actually takes concentration and energy, almost as if you are on a grand stage and you got to pull this performance out because it's quivering in you and it feels unnatural and it doesn't resonate right now, then you're landing on the amazing ones, and keep going there.
Absolutely. One of the things that I say as a personal affirmation, I love the life that I live while I build the life of my dreams. And what's crazy about that is, while I was so focused on, and I think a lot of people fall into this, a lot of people focused on what we don't have, right? And I'll be happy when, and I really kind of found, and when I found that affirmation, it really kind of hit me right in the ticker, because I really felt it, right? I'm living the life of right now. I have so much to be grateful for. I have my kids. We talked about my kids, my wife, my beautiful house, all these things, but we don't find the gratification in it. And we always are searching for more. So why I love that affirmation is it allows me to ground today while it still allows me to chase the dream of tomorrow.
Oh, dude, we could talk on the topic of optimum flow. And you're right there, to be in total gratitude for where you are right now, what you have, the opportunities, everything. But you still got to have bigger dreams and huge things and taking action steps towards it, because big dreams of the future is a big piece, right? We talked about it, the affirmations, the visualization, everything, but it's being in the flow of both at the same time, in total gratitude. And because otherwise, if you're in just one of those spaces, right? I'm in total gratitude for where I'm at. I'm hanging out with my buddies. We're smoking some reefer. Life's good. But I have no goals or ambitions. I'm just wasting my time. If I have huge goals and ambitions. I can't wait to do this, but I am resentful and in resistance to where I'm at, and I'm not enjoying the journey, and this sucks, and I got to get this result now and everything else. Well, you're screwed there too. But to be in that gratitude for where I'm at and huge dreams of the future that I'm taking action on, that is the most powerful state of flow, because all energies are moving together. So yeah, it's beautiful.
It's a powerful state, and I hope that anyone who's watching this has been able to experience that or is moving towards experiencing that, right? And a lot of the things that we talked about today, even in our interview, can help you move towards that more aligned life, if I could say such a thing, right? So fantastic, Todd. Thanks so much. Excuse me. One of the things that I know that you're great at doing as well is priming the mind. I really believe that you have to prime the mind in order to get into certain situations. We talked about focus, where your focus goes, expands, right? How would you prime your mind to get maybe more attention, more out of a program? How would you learn more? How would you retain more information? How would you do that?
This is going to sound oversimplified, like most things in life, simple but not easy.
Mm-hmm.
Fully commit. It's what most people fail to do. I'm going to shoot a video later today okay, you bought into this program, here's how to come prepared, so to speak. And I think you see that constantly across the board with any worthwhile program. They're going to give you here's how to set yourself up to win.
Mm-hmm.
But the biggest thing with that is when you fully commit, and by that I mean, if you've ever looked up, where the word decide came from, right? Greek Latin roots that were put together. In other words, decide, to cut all other options out. That's when you've made a true decision, is when you have cut all other options out. There isn't in the back of your mind, well, I'll try this, but if this doesn't work, boom, I'll go back. This is where, you truly lean in. And so the best retention, the best everything, because some people will grasp it in the first time. I happen to be one of those people that I felt much empathy and compassion for my middle sister. She had to study her ass off to maintain a C or B average. I never studied freaking once and had a 4.0 average. And that's just how some things are. But what we're talking about is the same thing. She fully committed, knowing it may take her 3 times longer than myself and my younger sister. Just as, Chris Celeste, a very dear friend of mine, he, with what was going on for him with his PTSD and, all of these pieces going on, he committed knowing that he was taking the same course, same training module, running with a group of people and really going, and had to get over I don't want to slow anybody down, all this stuff, everything else, and literally just lean in and commit. And when he committed, knowing it may take him 4 or 5 times through the lesson that somebody else may get in one, it didn't matter. He committed, therefore his retention went up. And guess what? He started performing at the top of the fucking class. Pardon my French. But it's that committing to self, that promise, everything. That's where retention, that's where strength, that is where resilience, that is where longevity, that is where true success is. That would be the one thing on, this short time we have together. Ask yourself right now, in these pursuits I'm going for, in these things I say I want, in even the current program, methodology, anything I'm in.
Are you committed?
100% committed. And if not, where would be the areas that I could recommit or further commit to? Not from right or wrong, good or bad, not to punish self, but if I really want to raise it, and you'll shock yourself when you cut out all the chicken exits.
Yeah. And I think the most powerful and you brought me through one of those exercises in commitment back in Orlando. And I won't ruin the surprise or any of the activity that we did, but that was 100% commitment. And I often go back to that moment and I think about the fear I faced at that particular point. We've talked about that today. We've talked about challenges that we face. We've talked about mindset, how we get through it, and then actually taking the action and taking that one step forward and committing to it. and what can happen as a result. It's just,
and that is to like almost do a open loop full circle. That's when you have that different relationship with fear as well.
yeah,
To commit, to move even when it's not easy, to do it even when it's not enjoyable, but to truly roll. That's why I love being in the able to play in the online affiliate marketing industry with mindset, because that's what I do is the mindset. But you take a look at it in those areas, multiple other areas I work in, it's people literally leaning into a life that 75, 80% of the population can't even wrap their mind around, might not make sense of. That's risk. And so all these things come full circle. You notice many of the topics that we've had, and they're brilliant questions, by the way. I really appreciate the time you put into thinking about what would be of value to my people. And I hope I've done the questions justice. But
absolutely.
Yeah, that's this stuff all ties together. But when you literally commit, it means when you became a parent, we can look at this kind of even hierarchy of values. Is it one of the most amazing things you ever committed to?
Absolutely.
Is it always pleasurable?
No.
No. But would you do it every single day anyway?
Absolutely.
You bet. And are the pleasures way bigger than the pains?
Yeah.
And so that's the thing, because a lot of people say, I want to be a millionaire. Well, yeah, if it fell in your lap. But to actually go out and create it, to literally be able to go through the pleasure and the pain and the fall down and the stumble, but get back up with nothing more than new knowledge and same enthusiasm and keep going.
Fantastic. Thanks so much for that, Todd. And I think what you mentioned, something that really stuck out to me, was when you fall, you get back up. And so many people kind of, I think when they see failure, they kind of think of it as a ladder. They think of it as they're up 10 rungs and then they fall, and they fall back 10 steps as a result of it, right? And it couldn't be further from the truth. When you actually fall, you fall exactly where you are. You get back up, you pick yourself up, and you keep going. It's just the way it works, right? And like I said, it's the mindset behind it. So thanks so much for bringing that on. I have a couple more questions here for you, Todd, and then we're going to get you going here today. What is one simple way that someone can change their state of being?
This is, again, one of those simple but not easy. Literally, you choose. You have about 64 different variations of emotions within you, right? You get to choose. And so funny thing is I'll do exercises with classes. Tony Robbins, I've seen him do it, where you can change your state this quick. But as far as changing your state, the biggest thing that I'm going to say is the thought has to precede the action, and emotions drive our thoughts. So that's why state is so important. We talked about something today, gratitude, but the easiest way to switch your physical state, let's say to a productive, get out and do something that literally and you may have done it before, high school wrestling match. Sometimes we had that pump up song, right? This, that, the other. But bottom line is physical motion oftentimes works, but do something that you truly know motivates or inspires you. And it doesn't matter if it's crazy to anybody else. For some people, it's that jog in the morning. For other people, it's taking 10, 15 minutes just to be in solitude. You ever watch two kids get together in a sandbox to play?
All the time.
You never watch them size each other up and go, well, before I'll play with you, how much money do you make, right? Who'd you vote for? Or those Huggies or Pampers. I will only hang out with people that wear Huggies. They just bring everything they are right to the beginning, right? Mm-hmm. That's also why one can hit one with a shovel and be in total upset, but 2 minutes later, they're best friends again. But bottom line, tap back into that childlike energy about you. Not childish, childlike. Tap back into that cowboy, that ballerina, that, some people are living so tense. Maybe today is that very day to take, the baseball cards out of the safety deposit box, put them back on the frickin' spokes where they really belong. go out and have some fun. Life is not boring. People are. Life is not hard. You're making it hard. We've heard all these things. Childlike energy, intuition, emotion, everything. It works. So that's the biggest hint I'll give. You find out what works for you to change your state. But what I'm going to say is it's not coming from a rigid adult with a stick up their ass. It is coming from that, amazing young child, that dreamer, that person that's still in there. And maybe it's tapping back into that. It'll look different for everybody, but have fun with that. If you're energetic, if you're engaged, if you are young at heart, trust me, that goes everywhere with you. Just as if you are rigid, decaying, archaic, as far as your, let's just say, inspirations go, that goes with you everywhere too.
Yes, absolutely. Love it. Now, Todd, last one, and then we'll get to kind of lead into the tactical mind. Mentorship. I know you've been really blessed in your life to be able to mentor with some of the people that you've been able to mentor with. And I'd just like you to chat just maybe a little bit about what mentorship meant to you and how everything changed as a result of mentorship. Maybe what you learned from that mentor, the number one thing you learned, but just talk about mentorship and the importance of it.
Mentorship is one of the most amazing opportunities if you have, let's just say, the bandwidth to see it for what it really is. Some of my mentors, there's many of them that stick out because, what we do is not easy, being out there and let's just say everything from stage presence to curriculum design to deep thought to really, a mentor will challenge you and inspire you. And don't be afraid to surpass your mentors, because the greatest thing about a true mentor is they want to see you do better than they even did. But the biggest thing I'll say is, you can either, you've heard this, you can either learn from your mistakes or other people's. And when you have people that have cut their teeth in an industry, that have, let's just say, been where you want to go, seen the steps that you're about to take, and is not telling you, you got to do it this way because you'll never be anybody but you, but is insightful and asks the right questions and has you do the, at least, will turn your head in the right direction, all of these things. You can go where it might take you 5 years, my personal experience, where it would have taken me 5 or 7 years to get in a year. And it's also the hardest thing. I had a couple mentors, Jeff Rogers is a gentleman that sticks out. The guy rooted for me more than anybody else, and he's phenomenal and amazing what he does, but he intimidates a lot of people. He's let's just say, no BS, right? And he wanted it and supported me and rooted for me harder than anybody, but he was also harder on me than anybody else. And it took me a while to see that it was because he saw so much potential in me that he rode me. I mean, I'd end up with jockey stripes on me, it felt like. So I'm gonna say be careful who you pick as a mentor. A mentor, somebody who's relying on their old past accolades, isn't currently doing anything, doesn't even, let's just say, is riding on their tenure, whatever. You really want to know when somebody's practicing what they preach. If they're talking about something and it's reference of an example, if they're referencing something 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, not saying it's always, but there's a chance they're not practicing. Learn from somebody who's truly practicing. But yeah, mentorship, that's what I love about the organization within AI. So many of the opportunities you and I have had together in whether it's masterminds or, live events, everything else. Anybody who misses out on those opportunities, because that's where you find your mentors. You don't look them up in the yellow pages. You find mentors by being engaged in the industry, in the workings, in everything, and then you find people that resonate, align. You find somebody that may be just a few steps further than you are, but can't wait because they went, oh my God, that was the biggest pattern of my growth. And it's okay to have multiple mentors.
Absolutely. And we talked about the Orlando event, and two of my biggest mentors actually came from being at that event, named Mark Lack and Dennis Yu, and they're both incredible people and just down to earth. I got to know them on a personal level, know that they're no BS. right?
Mhm.
It's what you
Yeah.
see is what you get, right?
Yeah,
And
that was a great venue to speak on. God, LAC is amazing. Dennis Yu. God, we had Jason Stone there.
Jason
Uh,
Stone, we had
there was so many.
yourself.
But well, yeah, I was on the keynote as well. But that's the biggest thing you say there is mentors do not find you, and I think that's a mistake that a lot of people have. Is, well, I'm gonna sign up to be this person's executive assistant, or they're gonna find me, or anything. No, you find. I have never once, literally. I'm kind of thinking about this now. Never once went down and handpicked. You look at who travels with me, who is training to be on stage with me, who they. It's not like I chose them. They chose me because they almost seeked me out because their passion was so big, because they were in the moment of it. As you say, never miss a live event, never miss that opportunity. Their hunger, their thirst was so there that literally, as a mentor, if you're a quality mentor, I don't have time that I give away. I mean, with what I can charge for my time these days, and again, it's because the value I give is 10 times that.
Absolutely.
But I'm not taking time out of my day. But man, when you see somebody that literally finds you, right? Same places, same everything, and you're like, you know what? Give me a call. Because when you see a younger, hungrier, coming up version of you, you can't help but want to support that. So it's mentorship's amazing. Put yourself in the places where you're going to meet the type of people that are one step ahead, walking the walk you want to walk, living the life you want to live, everything else, and really put yourself in those spaces and continue to show up. You got to do your part too. And it's amazing how those things will synergetically come in.
Absolutely. Todd, this has been fantastic. This interview has been great. I really appreciate your time. You mentioned that earlier. Guys, Todd, I hope you guys have really enjoyed this interview as well. Todd charges thousands and thousands of dollars to mentor some people personally. And I just, the amount of value that we've got over the last hour has been phenomenal. So I just personally want to thank you for that. And I'll end really on this last question. We talked about mentorship. We talked about overcoming fear. We've talked about a lot of different things today, and it really all kind of leads to what you're doing at this particular point. We know a lot of people in the coaching and development and mentorship space have been limited to being back at home, right? They haven't been able to do the events that they want with the people that they want. So a lot of people have had to shift their way of thinking, shift the way that they're doing business. And you've done that. And you've taken really all your years of experience with the digital marketing aspect of it, and you've turned around and you've created something called the tactical mind. So I'd like to like for you to share really about the tactical mind and really kind of like how digital marketing was able to really kind of help you in developing this program to be able to go out and help thousands of people.
Well, let me first start by saying it wasn't, I truly believe in experiential growth, right? We learn most from what we experience, not what we read, not what we see, not what we hear, but what we experience. And I was resistant to it because I've done the live classes, and I'll just be honest, as far as insight, impact, influence, phenomenal. We've come to the top of our literal field. We have the best of what's out there in the market. And so, again, it was one of those things where, remember when we talked about commitment? My goal is to literally impact 5 million lives to the positive before they either call me to service somewhere else or I'm deemed need to be put out to pasture and should, let's just say I'm not putting together full cognitive sentences. I don't see either one happening anytime soon. And I had to look at myself and really take a look at, if I say I want to bring these values, if I truly love what I do and feel that, opportunity is there to enrich other people's lives, if I'm a man of integrity and I say I'll do anything for people to live the lives of their dreams, if they'll just take action and responsibility and to support that, everything, then I was completely full of crap if I just sat back and waited for the world to change and make it convenient or back to the normal for me to supposedly serve my purpose. And so in doing the tactical mind, don't get me wrong, my greatest hope is that the live classes come back, that we are, doing those 3-level, that trilogy of classes again as soon as possible, because I've got people clamoring, waiting. And so let me be very clear, the tactical mind doesn't take anything from those things. If anything, it gives even a bigger foundation. So the beautiful thing is it wasn't going to be in this or this. And for my students that have gone on and taken one, if not two, if not all of the trilogy, they wanted to keep going. And so it's designed to meet you wherever you're at, but it does take all 20 years that I've worked with in the realm of personal growth and development from the experiential side, and literally for 90 days, put it in your life on what you're working on right now, in this moment, taking risks, going bigger. That's why it runs side by side with another program called Accelerator, but it's also being released because people have seen the value for everybody and anybody that really wants to live their life at a higher level. And it goes through 3 stages, and these are 12 modules. It's 12 full weeks. And the way we're releasing the Tactical Mind Unleashed is they're going to have about a 2-hour to 2.5-hour session every week with every module, with me personally, literally recreating that quote unquote live setting of having people with different takes on it. You know, when we get light bulbs going off and people are having their ahas and they're sharing them, and we're really delving into what does that mean. It's like we got multiple 100 years of collective experience to draw from in these 12 weeks. It's going to be phenomenal. And you ever had that experience where when, you know, somebody has a light bulb go off, they have a major epiphany, and then they'll share about that, and it's like, oh my God, I didn't look at it that way, or it adds to the one I have. And bottom line is, it's a huge mastermind, because out of this in thought elevation, if we can go to this phase, and then out of these discussions go here, and that live section of it, and then it gets to this area it would have never gone to. And in those 12 modules, we cover 3 different areas: formulation, concentration, mastery. And it is the best of what I have ever put together. And it is really something that I feel I can stand on everything that I believe in on, because it's not just brilliant. It's not just a 140-page tactical workbook that's fill-outable, that you're going to have a Bible that you can truly start to run your life tactically in a different way to truly get the results you want with the belief systems, everything. But it is then the experiences you're going to have in your own life with challenges every week to literally, because the biggest thing about personal growth and development is how do you integrate it into your life? Because we can hear these motivational speakers, we can get revved up, and then the motivation's gone, kind of like a sunburn before we even leave the parking lot. It makes logical sense, but we're not taking action on it. We could say, I know that, but no, I don't know it because I'm not practicing. And then takes your life as the canvas, as what we're going to put the brush to and paint in the areas you want, more definition, more color, everything. And that is our research and development laboratory. And it's specifically designed to integrate into your life. And it is one of the most amazing opportunities I've had, but I can't wait to do it the way we're going to do it, Tactical Mind Unleashed, where then we get both, not only the brilliance of this opportunity, but then the community, the mass understanding, the mass adaption, the amazing masterminds, the, as you were talking about, true relationships that come into it, and those support systems that are built and everything. So we're going to be releasing it, a taste preview on August 6th, full blown on the 13th of August. And it's a labor of, I'm going to say, passion, love, and desire that's really come true. And it turned out, how I know it turned out amazing is we've had about 150 people who have beta the program, and the feedback and the results and everything are just amazing. So not only do I feel it's amazing, we got the results to prove it. So I can't wait to unleash it at a bigger scale. And my biggest hope is that that can touch a minimum of 100,000 lives before the end of this year. And away we go. And we're ready to really unleash this and do it with style and class and respect for everybody that will take a risk, because this is going to be a risk. This is not something where you sit on your, you know what, there are going to be no places to hide. It's going to be full on the field.
And as one of those lucky beta testers, I will say that it was absolutely everything that Todd just described. I can't wait. I know it's going to help at least 100,000 people, if not 3, 4, 10 times that amount, Todd. The amount of value that you put into that course, the amount of time and effort, and the amount of transformation even that I took out of it just in that short period of time. I'm actually going through it a second time, guys. That's how good it is right now, going through it a second time. So I can't wait to kind of see the whole thing put together in a couple of weeks here, and super excited. Todd, where do they find you, and which platform?
where they can find me, Sean, the easiest way. I'm actually, they've got a specialist that's going to work with me. We're actually going to post this stuff on my Facebook page, everything. You know, I've always had thousands of people that have wanted what's next, we're thirsty. And so we're actually going to be putting it out there so anybody within AI will know where I'm at, but also if they just go to my Facebook page, they're going to, within the next 4 or 5 days, there'll be advertisements running on my Facebook page. It's kind of, you can see why this is a little different for me. It's a whole new experience for me, because always promoting people from, let's just say, underneath and up. This is the first time that we are literally going widespread and full out. So long story short, catch me on my Facebook page. I don't do Instagram hardly at all. I am not one of those guys that knows how to self-promote. So I'll share things on my Facebook page, and I hope everybody goes out and helps the promotion of that. And we can't wait to see what happens with this amazing first group that's going to, you know, come collectively together to, I'm just going to say, experience the best of their life with other people through them.
Absolutely, guys. Go find Todd Campbell right now on Facebook. I'll make sure that that his tag is in the notes and stuff like that as well. But Todd, it has been an absolute pleasure. I know you've taken some time out of your day to spend with us, so I truly appreciate that. I know everyone else does as well. And thank you so much for doing this.
You bet. And so, yeah, either my page, Todd Campbell, or Todd Campbell Coaching, either one. Sheldon, this has been awesome. You know, we met years ago, and to see the ride that you've been on, and it's just an honor and a pleasure. And I know we're not done yet. So you take care of yourself, keep putting the value out there, and thank you so much for letting me be a part of it today.
Great stuff. Thanks so much.
We'll see you soon.